I've been bold enough to say yes to things I didn't know how to do, which is why I could create things that didn't exist before. Usually when I tell people I'm a wall artist, I think this is the kind of image they have in mind. How many of y'all actually thought of this? That's what I'm trying to change. We live in a world full of stereotypes, and I'm happy to be changing at least one in my own way. Before I talk about what I do, why I'm here, I want to take you back to my childhood, to where it all started. I've been lucky enough to be born in a very creative family, and so art was something that always fascinated me as a kid. My parents really encouraged me and my brother. I was not alone. And I think they must have sent us to every possible class that they came across. If it was pottery, puppetry, fruit and vegetable carving, I mean, name it. That's when I used to wonder that whatever I'm learning here, how am I ever going to use it in life? Then they sent me to one Mehendi class. Okay, and that time I was like, who would have thought of using Mehendi in your art? But I did. It actually became my signature style of painting and sketching today. So I started adapting the intricate designs and created my own style. When I was 16, I was figuring out what to do in life, and I came across this ad in the Times of India. It was for Miss Teen India International. I was very curious, and I was like, okay, let's see what happens. So I said yes. I applied for it. It was the last day of the audition, and I actually won. I was the first runner-up for Miss Teen India International in 2008. Suddenly I was famous, and I got a lot of newspaper articles. People were taking my autographs, photographs. It also happened to be a reality show for all those of you who knew of MTV at that time. And oh God, it was so embarrassing. I think I must have cried in almost every episode because of the kind of pressure that I was dealing with and failing in almost every task. Then in the middle of the whole show, I realized that all I had to do was change my mindset and not think about the crown, but think of it as an experience, which is why I actually entered for it. That's when my game changed and I came out a winner. I got a lot of TV ads and I got a lot of TV shows post that. The only thing was that people saw me as this beauty queen with brains, and I wanted to, show them my talent as well. So the first thing I did was I showed myself as an artist for the TV shows. I was creating these short DIYs, painting shoes, painting bags, phone covers at that time, and it was a massive success. I realized that people wanted art in their lives, and this was one quick way to do it. Have you all heard of the Sula Fest that happens in Nasik every year? So I never shied away from showing my talent, and I realized this was a good platform. So in the initial years, this is back in 2011, I had a tiny table. I sat down and I was painting people's nails. Yes, painting people's nails. And I had a huge line. I realized that people wanted art, even if it was as personal as nails. I didn't realize it back then, that a small canvas, a 1-inch canvas, would take me to create my largest 2,000 square feet canvas. I haven't studied art formally. I think it's inborn. I usually tell people that, my mom has studied art, and I think I just got it in my genes. So I did my master's in psychology. I'm a psychologist. And to train myself further, I also did art psychology, just to understand how colors, shapes affect emotions. And to keep upgrading myself in terms of the skills and everything, I learned graphic designing as well. So I would digitize my artwork and, create these small projects just to get a hang of digital art. I used to love traveling, and I've been privileged enough to travel in India and abroad. And street art was something that really caught my eye. I used to love the fact that there were these huge walls with unique art pieces which were accessible to everyone. And in my heart, I knew that this is what I wanted to do. But how? In India, street art was not acceptable. And a woman climbing ladders with paint cans and painting, something not imaginable. So I came back to reality, and I started working as a graphic designing head at a fashion school. I used to doodle on blackboards, on walls, and whatever I could come across, just because I had a lot of free time. And I organized an art fest where I invited people to come and talk. A Bollywood set designer, a prominent Bollywood set designer, had come for one of these. He saw this sketch and he told me, "You're wasting your time, you need to quit your job." And I thought he was joking. I mean, who comes and says quit your job over a painting like this? And I was like, okay. I said, yes, let's see what happens. I quit my job. I went to see the restaurant. He offered me a restaurant to paint. Oh my God, it was a huge wall, at least for me, for the first project. It was a 52 feet by 8 feet. And to complicate things further, I had a 20-day deadline, and I wanted to do it in my signature style. This was the first time I actually had the pressure to perform well, because someone of that level believed in me, looking at one sketch, and believed that I could do this whole project. So this is me doing it piece by piece, literally. And when it all came together, it was actually one of Bombay's largest hand-painted restaurant for a in Bombay. And when it was done, I looked at it and I realized that this was my calling. Post that, again, I got a lot of newspaper articles, a lot of recognition, and this time as an artist. And this time it felt right. Before I take you to the next thing, I want to just give you an idea of what I actually do. So I am a psychologist and an artist, and I have combined the two to create artworks. So I sit down with the client, I understand their ideas, their crazy ideas, and I put them together as an art form. So I am like an interpreter for them, for their ideas, and I put it on the wall. So even a common subject like nature, for example, has various interpretations. So it could be travel related, it could be in neutral colors, for those who don't like a lot of color, or it could be bright and pop, like a colorful wall. And of course, my favorite is these large-scale murals. So at one of my street art projects, I was approached by India's leading paint company. They wanted me on board, and they asked me to create wall textures for them. Wall textures, unheard of, something I never thought of doing. And I said, yes, challenge accepted. So they wanted me to create these repeatable patterns, which could be done on textures and could be, taught to contractors all over the country. It was a huge task. This is where all that I had learned in my childhood came back. Every possible class that I had gone to, all the skills, all the tools, everything I combined to create textures. And I was doing this for a lot of other paint companies as well. Here I had created my own niche. I was now a color and texture consultant. I started trend forecasting, color forecasting, giving color combinations, and I was really happy with this. I was then approached by an Italian paint company called Nova Color, and they saw my love for textures, and they said that we'll make you the brand ambassador, the only Indian brand ambassador. And I was like, okay, yes again. So this, I created a design for them. It's my signature style. I'm sure you all know that by now. And I wanted to give it a very Indian touch. So the colors are very bright. And this was displayed in Milan. This is back in 2020 when COVID had just hit. So post that, they gave me more projects, in the sense that I was painting live at the India Design Week, I was painting live at the Milan Design Week. Since this was post-COVID, I wanted the artworks to talk about what we all went through collectively in terms of finding beauty in the brokenness, finding value and transforming ourselves, which is exactly what we did. I also got the opportunity with them to train. So now I travel globally to train. This is UK, Thailand. My latest one was in Brazil. I was amongst the 10 top world texture artists, and I was one of them. I was the only female, the youngest one, the only Indian. It was a very proud moment for me. And so I was teaching them my signature style. Of course, it's looking all glamorous, all the murals, all the recognition, but there's a lot that goes behind the space, and every wall has its own story. So ironically, I am afraid of heights. Imagine, I've taken up this job, this career that I made for myself, where I have to climb walls, I have to climb ladders every single day, and I'm afraid to do that. But that's the thing, that I am facing my fear every single day, especially when I'm doing ceilings or when I'm doing these high walls. The other thing is, a lot of people tell me, wow, you're so fit, which gym do you go to and all that. And I'm like, this painting is a full body workout. I mean, it sounds really fun and all, but it's very painful. You're standing all day, you're painting against the gravity, and oh God, the aches and pains after that. These are the internal factors. We have a lot of external factors that bother us. Like, I'll just give you one example. This is one that I did for Jawan, which is outside Shah Rukh Khan's house. So you can imagine the number of people. External factors like weather, which we can't contain. So it was raining. There was this massive stampede outside because they wanted to come and see Shah Rukh Khan. And oh my God, I had a deadline. I had to complete this. So we go through a lot of struggles. And of course, then dealing with people. I think that's an art. Good and some difficult clients. So summing it up for you, these are not my biggest achievements. I think my biggest achievement would be the fact that as a woman, as an artist, I have created my own career out of this. And I have created it in a space which I truly love. Every single yes that I said to has led me to something bigger. So every single step that I take takes me to the larger picture. And hoping to do larger pictures than this in the future. Thank you so much.